For about 15 years, I was a media executive. For the last 5 years or so of that career, I was a senior vice president in New York for a company called Time Inc. It was a great life. It was, New York and fashion and media, and I was front row at Versace twice a year, and it was really fun. And then Time Inc. was absorbed into a company called Meredith, and I left Time Inc. as a part of that merger. After, at that time, 13 years of being a workaholic, decided to take some time off. And then COVID hit. And so everyone sort of panicked, and I was just in my nice little apartment in Los Angeles, quarantined and enjoying the peace and quiet. And I started to get bored, and I'm friends with a gentleman named Philip Selway. And Philip is a very successful pop art dealer, and he brought up this property that he owned in Hopland, California. And Phil wants his legacy on this planet to be one of animal welfare. And he bought this property to turn it into a farm animal sanctuary, and those plans did not work out. So he said, would you please come sell this property? And so I said, okay, I'll come. So I made a 3-month commitment to work on my tan and to get out. Then once I was here, a couple of things happened. One is I was going on a hike, and I stopped for a moment because I thought, what is that feeling that I'm feeling? And I recognized that I was feeling serenity, and that probably for the first time in 2 decades. For me, my head is a snow globe that never stops being shook, and that's just normal for me, so I just lived with it. And that shaking stopped out here. Part of it is because it's a beautiful landscape. Part of it is because I didn't have many distractions to keep me occupied. So it wasn't a life-changing moment. It for sure was not an aha moment, but it was definitely worth acknowledging. Oh, serenity felt pretty good. And then a week later, I was laying out by the pool, and I was scrolling TikTok, and I saw a video of a woman at an auction in Bowie, Texas, saving donkeys from slaughter. And she was crying in the video because she had nowhere to take them, and if she didn't get them, they were going to get slaughtered. And so I did a quick Google, why are people slaughtering donkeys? I read an article in The Guardian about the demand for this herb that's causing about 4 million donkeys a year to be slaughtered. And I just thought it was horrible. And interestingly enough, I'm sitting in Hopland on a property that's designed for farm animals. And now here's a woman that is rescuing animals but has nowhere to take them. What I realized in the days following that TikTok video was that there's a difference between things that I enjoy and things that bring me joy. And that was the aha moment for me. I had been spending my life working really hard to fill my life with things that I enjoy. And it was great. I drove an amazing Mercedes AMG, and I was in Gucci suits every day, and I was traveling the world, and I really do enjoy those things, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But of course, they don't bring me joy. So when I had that moment, I thought, okay, well, what does bring me joy? And I look back at my life and think, when was I the most joyful? And every time that I could identify that I've experienced real joy, I was having an impact on something outside of me. And so that was when I realized having impact on something other than Ron King brings me joy. And then literally, it just all happened. I wrote a business plan that involved me retiring from media. Then we launched Oscar's Place. And now we've been open for 15 months, and I'm a full-time farmer. 15 months later, we've saved 135 donkeys from slaughter and have 8 permanent residents, 3 of which are goose pickles and shadow. Donkeys have no monetary value to humans, and so as a result, we're kind of turning a blind eye to what's happening to them. Quite literally, most of the ancient global cities were built on the backs of donkeys. So before we had tractors, donkeys did that work. Now they have nobody speaking up for them. So I wanted to speak up for somebody who didn't have somebody speaking up for them. And then the fact that they can love you back was very appealing to me. Viejo! Once a donkey steps foot at Oscar's Place, for the rest of its life, we will not rest until we know that donkey is safe, healthy, and happy. There are auctions all throughout the country. It's only in Texas, the southernmost auctions, the closest to the Mexican border, that the undesirable animals that haven't been bought by the time they're there get loaded onto a trailer and driven across the border for slaughter. So that's why we go to Texas. So Kenneth and I went in November to the November auction, and we went to save 25 or 30, and we came home with 50. So we overshot the mark, but as you can imagine, it is heart-wrenching knowing that everyone we don't choose is going to get loaded on a tractor trailer. So when they get off the truck, the first thing we do is sort of a physical evaluation and physical treatment. We take several animals to UC Davis to the emergency room, and our lives are turned upside down. It quite literally is 24/7 urgent care.
My favorite part about working here would have to be seeing these guys progress after they come from the auction, seeing how the wild ones or the scared ones start to settle in and realize they're safe, and they start to trust people again, and you can come up and pet them, and they finally give in to the fact that they're someplace safe and they can relax for a moment, and it's really rewarding to see.
Once we get the herd stable and the animals stable, then we work on emotional recovery. So we have to emotionally retrain them to trust humans. And the only way to do that is hands-on donkey. So everyone that works here and all of our volunteers spend as much time as possible hands-on donkey to rehabilitate them emotionally and get them to trust humans again.
Well, this has probably been the best experience that I've ever had in my life. I've never volunteered any place before that has been so peaceful and so nurturing. It's just, it's one of the most incredible places I've ever been. It's now my chosen charity as well.
Once they're completely recovered and trained, we start the rehoming process, but it is a process, and it takes quite a while. And then when we do find the perfect match, which we have adopted out 34 donkeys to date, which is a huge number considering how strict we are, then we go through the process of saying goodbye.
I actually found him online researching, and I filled out an application, and I was contacted by Ron King. So he invited me to come out and meet Mabel and Elsie, the two available female bonded donkeys. And so I've been coming out here since November. The great thing about Oscar's Place is they want to make sure that the adopter is 100% ready to go to bring over the donkeys and make it just a comfortable, happy life for them and myself. And so when I'm completely ready, we will bring them over. I can't wait to, bring them back to my ranch and have them be a part of my life.
We have 93 donkeys on property today, and then we have adopted 34 donkeys to loving homes. But those donkeys will never suffer ever again, and that's incredible. And then with the babies that are born, these babies are amazing, and they come out trusting, and those babies will never experience the trauma that their moms experienced in the auction.
I've had other proud, joyous, happy moments in my life, but to be a part of something like this, to be a part of something so grand, and just the transformation, the donkey's life, what we're doing here. My hands have been a part of every single piece of this puzzle. The building, the fencing, the planning, it's amazing.
When I think about having impact, the impact that we've had on these animals' lives, and you can see it, Viejo, my donkey, he hugs me every day, and when he hugs me, he smiles. So they know that they've been saved, and they know that they've been saved by us, and that's incredible. And then I have a great team. So I have a team of workers, most of whom I found on Craigslist. We are all on our own path of redemption of some sort, and this is a sanctuary for us as well. And so, my impact expands beyond the donkeys to the people that work here. And then our adopters and our volunteers all share stories about their own paths to redemption and the effects that the donkeys of Oscar's Place have had on their lives. And so all of a sudden the impact starts to amplify, and you realize you're making a real difference. And what I now know is that that's what it's all about.